Yeah, well, something scribbled on it.
Hey Dave, when I was out at the park on Wednesday, I walked through the whole thing and then noticed some things that potentially we might want to address, painting or fixing or something. And then I put a dollar figure on it. And
It's hard to find good help.
Pardon?
It's hard to find good help.
Yeah, you know, Scott, I thought, well,
We are live.
I'm glad Scott's here because he'll know what these things cost and I have no idea.
John, I'm going to forego the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll call this meeting of the Veronica Valley Park Committee to order. On chair decision, we'll forego Pledge of Allegiance, keep moving so we can put in all the time we've got. Roll call.
Mr. Behrens?
Here.
Mr. Kolpa?
Here.
Mr. Walter?
Here.
Mr. Christensen? Absent excuse.
Approval of the agenda.
Looks okay to me.
I think it covers our topic. Motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
And public comment.
The number to call for public comment is 231-256-8109. And if anyone does call in, we can take them at that time. I don't see anybody watching, so you can keep going.
Okay.
Thank you. So, we have two chores. Can we come up with any way to spend some money this year? And let's prioritize from our work list, our look ahead at 2021.
Let's go with Scott. You got any ideas of things we should buy yet?
Maybe some gravel, you know, like
Yeah.
David came up with, but.
Well, John came up with it.
Well,
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead, John. Let's talk about that.
Well, in an effort for efficiency, I walked around the park.
Could we all speak into the microphones?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Laura.
instead of looking at the person. Okay, I walked around the park to look at things that I thought we might do or we might need. So, I gotta get Laura, I only got made 4 of them, so can I get that?
Oh, you can have that, yeah.
I wanted you to have it so you could get notes on it.
Well, you can email me the final.
Okay. Okay. So, what I have here is these, and then I have a packet of pictures and photographs and everything about it. For example, the River report about it. You know, and I'm cautious on doing this because I'm real new. I don't know the needs. I don't know the cost like Scott would. So let's go through real quick. Porta potty toilets, I looked those up and in previous things that had been done, it was looking at barrier-free characteristics. So maybe that's one. Paint the Midway Bridge. Here's a picture of the Midway Bridge. It looks like it should be painted. Paint the fishing bridge. There's a picture of the fishing bridge, but you know that pretty well. And the condition of that. Grade parking lots and re-gravel. So I paid stuff to dimension that main parking lot, and it's called Elmer's got to see about an estimate, and I think I've been talking more to do, and he talked about bringing in gravel and then tapering the gravel, and he came up with an estimate of $16,900. I said, well, I don't think that's realistic. I think maybe going in and grading it might be a factor, but not there. And I would really appreciate Scott looking at these things and to see what's realistic. The trail map one is it's more of a personal thing. partially because I like maps, and partially because that we've got that one that's up there, the board is kind of faded, we can push that. But I like getting an idea what we had. And when I first got trucking on here, I didn't know where I was when I got out there. I couldn't reference the pond to where I was as I didn't have it. So that just shows laminating one, putting it up on a post. And let's look at playground equipment. This was interesting to me because I take my grandkids there fishing. And I have two groups of grandkids, some older and younger ones. And when I went and looked at more at the playground equipment, it's basically right for five and under. And when I would go there, be a young mother with a young child, I thought about, if you had a couple of kids, and there's a cost range, there's not much playground equipment for anybody over 5 years old, so maybe something like that. Might do something, also, that's the sideline thing. All the swings are kind of upper level, and so it might be good to drop a little swing. And then, building bridge over the spillway. Let's see.
It's over the dam.
Yeah, building a bridge over the little dam. Because when I go there, I go there thinking I'm gonna be able to walk around, but I can't move. And that might just be me too. Okay, now, there's one other thing that's not on here, but because I'm there with kids, this is a spot right here where my grandkids go to it, and you can see it's worn down there, and it's what, so in line with barrier-free access, this might be a possibility where you could do a dock that's like 6 feet deep. It would be able to have the 5-foot turnaround for barrier-free and an access to that. I have different sets of grandkids, and older ones might fish from a bridge, look at it, but the younger ones, they want to get down there, right there, and see the fish. Then they want to take it over and feed it to the big snapping turtle, and then come back. So I'm done.
A lot of what you talked about, we've talked about.
Yes.
Including the fishing structure there. So right now, in what you've gone through, John, some work on the parking lot was the one that is really feasible for this year. What's left yet in this year? Do we do that, Scott? Do we hire out, contract out grading? Because both parking lots could be graded. I mean, that's a valid maintenance.
Yeah, we could, if we could get the gravel, we could spread it. Tractor here, bucket and grader.
Do we have to go to the full commission then and say we want to buy some gravel this year?
No.
No, I don't think so. Okay.
So let's buy gravel. How much you need?
It's up to follow the counties.
Can
Thanks.
you pull some strings, get it from the road commission? We pay for it, we've got gravel from them.
No, we can do it for public enterprises and we just give it at cost, but how much do you want and where do you want it done?
Well, I guess it depends how far we want to go with it. I figured we needed to go almost 300 yards
300?
if you want to do that back parking lot.
The back parking lot.
As well as the front one.
Just the front one probably, I don't know, 10 or 20 yards. Fill in potholes, put a little crown to it. The road going back to the
Yeah.
maintenance shed, that needs gravel
It
back.
needs
You can't
gravel.
hardly plow that in the winter.
Can we get a big truck in there?
Yeah, I think you could.
Oh, wouldn't be any problem with there, trucks backing on.
You'd have to back in.
Off of Maple Valley.
Give me a sketch by the end of the day, or after this meeting, where you want dirt dumped.
Okay.
with this? Draw the sketch?
Sure.
And then I'll see them. Because that's something we can do on rainy days.
Right, you know, they just dump the gravel out in the corner. You know, if it's sat there all winter, it's not gonna be a big deal.
Okay, so that we can do under maintenance.
What's that likely to cost? Any idea? Okay.
Well, I call numbers, because I know they're the highest price around. so-
Okay.
And it was about $400 for 10 yards. And I think the gravel was $11 a ton. So,
We'll see. Give me a sketch and where we want some, and then
okay.
I'll see what they come up with.
That's it. John Copeland, do you have, Coach, either of you, any more from you, John, or?
Well,
In
is
terms
there
of
stuff we
things-
could do, like you can't paint these bridges this year, right?
No,
No,
Should we buy the paint this year, or just forget about it?
I would just,
What about ordering that portable toilet? We can get that,
I could have that tomorrow, well,
Yeah.
Monday,
let's order it and deliver it.
yeah.
Is that what we agree on?
I agree with that.
You wanna have one taken out and replace one with barrier free? Okay.
That's what I assumed. I didn't think we needed 3 toilets there.
Yeah, no.
So that can be spent on this year, and you can buy it
Yeah,
yourself.
I can make that call today.
And I'll look into that.
Is
Just
it-
prepping all the
is it-
bridges.
Is that a monthly rental or is it a purchase?
Is it a what?
Is it a monthly rental of
Yes.
such a thing?
Yeah.
It's not an outright purchase.
No, it's monthly rental.
So we can
You
get,
don't own it.
so maybe we can get 2 months. Well, if we're gonna take one away, we're not gonna be adding much to our.
Right. Yeah, I'll call them and find out how much it is. You want me just to do it, or?
I like this idea of trail maps. Is that something that you know where to go to get them printed out and how big they are, John?
I agree, I thought we
Okay,
might look at some signage expenditure.
The colored one's the nice one, because it's different colors. And I thought you could even do it this size, or you could have it blowing twice the size. Travis Repro, I go there a lot, they do that. And so I thought, get it laminated, put it on a 4x4 post, not with a plywood backer. And the 4 places where, but when I come in there, I see people come in, they don't go over to that map, they kind of wiggle out to the bridge, and then they walk around. You could have one at the lookout point, and when you walk around where the road is crossed off, and then the one at the other parking lot.
I agree, but if we go buy 4 right now, you can take care of it, you know what the price is, and are they radiation resistant? Not just a piece of paper that's gonna fade under the sun, and.
That's a real good point, that's a real good point.
Because the national park has them, but you gotta see these people and make sure they're radiation ink.
Radiation.
Oh yeah, some radiation tears the sign apart in no time.
Okay,
There's
so,
only one place in the country that does those laminated signs, from what I remember.
okay. Do I contact you, then, Scott?
Yeah, I'll see if I can come up with a name.
Okay, give me a number. You know,
231
uh-huh,
432 0022.
0022. Okay, good. Anyway,
So you're gonna look into that, see where you can get it. And
uh-huh.
That might take a while, and it might not be under this year's budget.
Well, let me ask, and I was gonna draw a picture of this. Get in 6 or 8 foot,
We've been talking about signs for a long time.
yeah, and a good point you brought up, John, is let's not cover this place with signs.
No, but
Yeah,
I like to see a few.
yeah.
What are your locations?
Well, he can determine.
There's,
Well,
as you come in the main parking lot, most people I see just walk to that little opening in the post there, and you can identify. And you swing around, there's a spot that says the overlook, as you go up there, and then swing around, shoot, and you go down a little, and there's the roadway that's got it blocked off.
I'll This is gonna be some of our
There's a
action.
yellow dot, there's a yellow dot at this little spot there. And then at the other parking lot, so there would be 4 of them. Just give people a reference.
Well,
a
and
sense.
my thoughts as I've been hiking and thinking about signage was, we have one left from previous, a long time ago,
Oh.
that says parking in an arrow that's still out there somewhere. And that's the question I think a lot of people need answered is, well, which way back to the parking lot?
Yeah, I saw that.
So either parking or some kind of map, so look at what we can get done this year and spend some money on signage.
Uh-huh.
Might not get up till next spring, probably wouldn't, but then,
We can get like the custom-made street signs, you know, the metal ones that say anything on them. I mean, you couldn't put a map like that, but
that would say parking in an arrow.
yeah. Or good luck, you're on your own, or whatever you want it to say.
I liked, when I saw the name of Frog Pond or something like that, then I had some kind of idea. And when I references to the map, gave me a whole complete
then-
identification.
So we can keep moving.
I'll-
You
I'll-
take on signs.
I'll take it on the side.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be a busy thing like that, but you're good at sketching, just use your route and Frog Pond.
Yeah, it could be that map.
Now,
Ideas really simple.
if this
Just
was,
the imagery.
if this was spring, do we have the people in time to paint these bridges? Do they need painting? One that needs building, I don't know how you can build a bridge for $1,000.
Maybe not. This one here? That's one
But
of-
if someone built it, we gotta go out for bids and all this kind of
Oh.
stuff. Because it's,
One of the ideas that came out of grant application, applying and that planning, was that area between the two ponds, instead of being a dam, might be a trickle.
Oh,
And have,
That'd be great.
Oh,
We'll have
there's-
like a waterfall or something coming down.
yeah,
Yeah.
some sort of moving water through there. And then it would take a very little humpy bridge to go over there.
you know, I really like that because, and I didn't want to appear making it sound too dumb, but when you're out there, it's quiet, but you come by that spot and you hear that water kind of run over. It's a nice characteristic about that because we seldom experience running water.
Yeah.
We get a lot of waves around here.
Well,
I like this list. Who could design a bridge?
I can do that, it's right here.
Design it, go out and get,
Got it all designed.
who can design the
and then
trickling
get 3
feed?
quotes or something.
Pardon?
Or go out for bids then and see what,
Yeah.
through Laurel, if they're gonna design it and install it. Someone's gonna build it in their shed or just like they're doing, and then it includes the price of installation.
Well, John Pope would give me your opinion on this. Do we move on a bridge that's just over the existing structures that are there, this dam thing? Or do we approve that and perhaps even have a smaller bridge then over what we,
If we put it over that dam, is that gonna hurt our maintenance on it? Or do we need to
Well,
put?
we really don't do anything to that dam, so to
No,
speak.
I wasn't showing doing anything to the dam, Scott. But I'm concerned I'm just doing a flat bridge for little kids falling in. And legally, do we need to have something that would have a handrail that was 3 feet high or something?
I think so. You've got the spacing correct.
Yeah,
and you've
not
got
less
the
than 4 inches.
and you've got the footboard there.
Yeah.
Pick a spot and design it.
I would think that, you know, the way the pilings are, that should be addressed before we put a bridge on.
Yeah, it should be.
Because
You're right.
there's not much holding that water back.
I like it.
You're right, Scott. I didn't look at it that way.
well, okay, in my own list of thoughts towards next year, doing something there has been high on the list. John Pope, you're in agreement with that?
Yeah.
I'll leave all these drawings with you.
No, you take, that's gonna be your project.
I've got it on my phone. I've got a drawing of it. Got to figure it out.
Yours.
I'm ready to do something. I'm sitting here, I'm tired of just listening to costs and come here, we talk.
Good.
Well, then let me bring this up, because we're sliding into this subject right away, because you're gonna look at signs. We've got the gravel going, that's for this year. So now looking at next year, I would like us to improve our porta potty service with pad. And eventually, John Walter, you can help us with the designing of the privacy sort of fence around it and some sort of shade structure that still allows for servicing of the porta potty.
Yes. Earlier last year, you had some pictures of the enclosure areas and fences and everything like that.
Yeah, some suggestions which I can either find or get again from Klaus.
Okay. I'll,
Those were just possibilities that he quickly pulled up.
yeah, my only caution is not to have it too private, because then we get concealed, and I'm cautious of somebody. So I would be cautious in that characteristic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had complaints at Old Settlers because the doors are covered with a wall. So you walk behind a panel and I guess women don't feel comfortable walking behind that because it's just blocked from view. You can't see what's going on.
So maybe it's more appropriate. I appreciate the aspect of privacy, but,
The only, I don't know where I got this feedback that privacy is from someone stepping out of the door, out of it,
oh,
and still getting themselves adjusted or whatever, and just having some visual break from either the parking
Yes.
lot or the main use area or whatever. So I'm not talking about anything that's really hides it.
that's a good point. So maybe there's quick, I don't want to spend a lot of time, because we get a lot of things to cover, and I don't want to take up a lot of this time.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
For those two fishing bridges, those two aren't, you're not gonna get them done for a couple $100. Should those be something that one of us goes out for quotes on, or?
We had quotes on the Mackinac Bridge. It was huge.
Couple of owners?
Yeah, it was like 10 grand because it's over the water, it's, connected
Scott,
to
are
a
they gonna come
trout
under
stream.
sandblast and then?
They gotta sandblast it, they gotta, lay
Yeah.
stuff over the water. It was I don't remember the cost, but it was significant.
Does it need painting? Is it fallen, is it rusted?
Yes.
Uh,
And the last guy we had, who did Midway Bridge, was maybe 3 years ago. He painted green wood. That's what I had on all people.
I saw that, Scott. Maybe they didn't put a primer on it, it was just,
Yeah, it just peels right off.
but it was probably treated wood, and they didn't wait
It's exactly
a
what it
year
was.
on it or something.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of painting treated wood, period. It's better
Okay.
just to leave it raw, in my opinion.
we would need some type of a spec. Say, okay, we want you to paint the bridge, and this is how we want you to do it. But we would probably have to pay a painter for his time, $100 or whatever, to draw up a spec, unless you've got one already.
Yeah, I might have it. I don't know if I can find it, but
And they say, okay, here's what we would do, and we'd go out, if you were gonna paint it, what would you ask for? So we'll ask these-
Steve would be the one that would have it, for sure.
And we'd have to sandblast it, collect the paint, the county painted the one in Cedar, it's white wall, and you gotta get a wrap, and you gotta do this, and you gotta capture all the stuff. But to write that up would take somebody with talent that knows what he's going for. Then you'd have to prime it with this and coat it with epoxy and certify this. Do we know anybody that can give us a spec on that? You're gonna look and see if you can find your
I'll
own
see if I
bid
can find an old one.
for both of them? Or that other one just requires a paintbrush and paint?
Yeah, I can look at all of them.
equipment, we can keep that on our radar and just next year buy some.
Well, now, when you brought this up, then I'm trying to refresh my memory of timing. Apparently, in the past couple of years, we've been, Laurel, you may remember some of this, we got a notice about it being able to apply for a grant for, one of the main things was playground equipment, and especially pads that go underneath. Do you remember that?
Is that in the summertime?
Yeah, and when you got the notice, which then you pumped out to us, we had a week or something
Yeah.
for somebody to pull it all together. We just said, not now.
I could look through my emails, through my sent folder to see what I sent. Because I'm sure it was just a notification from some state agency.
Right, I remember it.
It was, in fact, it was a pass-through agency for Northwest Michigan. I mean, I don't know where the funds originally came from. But this, you and I can check into this because playground equipment, that may be in place. We can also not only do some upgrade, but get some help, some financial help.
Oh, good.
When you get those emails, do you throw them in a folder for Veronica Valley, or do you just delete them when you get them?
No, I don't run out of Valley folder.
So if she sent you one,
No, that one I probably didn't put in that folder. I just,
it'd be in your delete pile?
as long as
Instead of Laura looking for it,
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
saying she's
I
busy.
understand.
No, it's a lot easier for me to find it because I don't throw anything out. And I don't review it. I know that it might, I look at it briefly and realize
Right.
it might be something you would entertain. So then I just send it through because I'm not part of your board, but it's something for you to consider.
I remember now that Dave brought it up, I remember seeing it, and Dave can't do it, and so I just,
Yeah, because I think the timeline was really short.
yeah.
Very short,
Yeah.
it's very short. And we weren't done with the 5 year or something, there was another thing going on too.
We covered all these then. I
Well,
like this list.
and Laurel and I will confab on that some, so that we can look ahead and possibly look for some grant help with playground. Let me go back to, the porta potties. I'd like to have us put it up on a cement pad. Nice and flat,
So level.
level.
You know, and so maybe does the concrete out in front of it 3 feet so they don't step into a pothole or something?
So we gotta be able to roll up on it if it's
That's
gotta be
right.
level.
That's
It's
right.
gotta be level with the ground, and if you want it a pad, that's fine. But it's gotta be at grade or below grade.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gotta be done for proper servicing.
But what's the reason for doing it? It's on stone now, or gravel, or grass?
It's on stone,
Is it on, not
Gravel.
crushed stone?
No, it's on gravel, well, it's on gravel,
gravel, yeah, just
and they're not
22
really
inch.
level.
I mean, what's wrong with it? It's a park.
Okay, my opinion is that we owe the public a quality park. And I know that porta potty service is used, even by those who aren't using the park right at that time. But as an upgrade to when people go to our parks, we want them to have an experience. And that's what we'll bring them back. And part of that, frankly, I think, is a high-quality toilet service, porta potty.
Okay, so we can
So-
order that porta potty now and then have a contractor come in and dig it out and pour a pad there next year.
Yeah, porta potties are portable, as
Well,
It's gonna cost a few kroners to pour that pad.
but
We'll do it.
next year, we're gonna wanna spend money too. I mean, we're gonna get into this, yeah, that's precisely the point. isn't it?
yeah, if we're gonna get into pouring pads and stuff, we should have the design of the enclosure before we start putting
I can,
permanent concrete
Oh, you
down,
mean this barrier in the front?
or whatever it's gonna be.
I can do a drawing and show very quickly how to, the standard porta potty maybe the concrete came out the front of them, and maybe there's a screen,
Wouldn't, yeah,
a screen that doesn't reflect
You're down.
a person's
all right,
security.
perfect.
Well,
Yeah, or use
and all
that,
I'm-
Pardon?
I can't think what it's called.
One thing I want to know, Scott, when they come, do they service, does the people who rent service the porta potty?
Right,
How do they need to pull it out, from the front, the side, or,
They don't move it.
well, they don't move it?
No.
Okay, so I'm not concerned about having the screen and some truck can't get to it.
well,
Yeah,
they have to be able to put it in the first
Yeah, I
place.
mean,
Yeah, I
And
realize
take it out.
that.
If
Take
it was
out.
damaged or something and they had to
Yeah.
remove it, they
Okay.
have to think of
Okay.
that.
Okay.
And the reason I keep going for a shade structure, frankly, is the Disabilities Network that I consulted 3 different times in our planning. They're strong on that. They said, you get in the porta potty in the summertime, it can be hot,
That's right.
and it can take a disabled person a lot longer in the porta potty.
Yeah, they get hot,
And-
that's for
Yeah.
sure.
It came up all 3 times from both the director and this small group of people I talked to. So you and I can work together on that, but are we all agreed that upgrading porta potty is something worth doing in 2021?
well, I'm not sure, we've got 2 other parks, and we have shade structures and level things for all of them, and that guy that picks up a porta potty does it with a boom, doesn't he? He just slides it
You
on.
just slide it onto a dock, lift gate.
Well, then we can't have that shadow barrier in front of it.
Well, you can pull them out, they're only a
We're
couple
gonna have
hundred
to think that
pounds.
through.
And the shadow barrier could be on a sleeve.
Well, when you design it, you'll
Okay.
contact one of these people and say,
Sure.
we do this and we do that. What is it that we can't do?
Yeah. I'll have a
Good.
sketch going.
Well, and
I'm sure Williams would be more than delighted to be part of that.
Yeah,
Williams, that's who it is.
Williams and Bay. So,
well, I like this,
we got something we can go back to community.
yeah. So we're gonna be looking at, just to keep reviewing here. Bridge, signage immediately, get this gravel, then some bridge and structural work around the dam as a focus for 2021. And then, I'll come back to us all with some possibilities of playground, upgrades through grants. And then this whole porta potty upgrade,
And Pope was gonna look in the gravel.
into the ground.
John, this is
Okay, so we're getting,
it gives you an idea of the condition of the dam, you know, because, or the bridge, we don't often really look at it close.
you know, when I did last spring, I thought it was in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I don't know,
And maybe
I don't know.
but part of it, Dave, was the maintenance, because if we don't take care of rust soon, then these things could get twice as bad. So it's more of the cost of doing maintenance now is the cost of doing maintenance later.
Here, we got a new list.
Have you had thoughts, John, on something that you just ought to do next year?
The only thing that's been on my back bar is redoing that, getting that barrier out, where the pilings are, and leveling that, and making it so people can get there similar to the sketch that we had. And I went and got quotes, and then I was gonna bring it back, I only got 1 quote, and then I was gonna bring it back to the board, and then the grant thing took place, and it was gonna be in that, so that's an action item, is that I'm gonna go out and get quotes, and I have a design already. And we'll just bring that up again after sitting in limbo here, so.
Did that involve, what you're looking at, involve any sort of excavation or construction of the pond is gonna get it in permits.
Oh, yeah, it's big time. We need a permit, we gotta get a backhoe in there, we gotta rip out, see, some kids fell over that once in a while, you can't get out.
This is, where was it?
I would be dead set against changing that bank. Everyone I've talked to that are fishermen, the fishing group, they don't want anything to do with that.
Well,
Pete Taylor is rolling over in his grave just hearing us talk
What?
about that.
What?
I said Pete Taylor's rolling over in his grave talking about,
Well, we'd still have that bank,
Changing
just that
that
it'd be
bank.
level so that you don't fall into it. It would be just about water level.
I agree with that.
It would just about be, see, this is such a big hump here,
Yeah,
and these are pilings here.
yep, and go straight back from there.
And the estimates I got was to cut that back so this is nice and flat, so when kids are fishing here, they're not falling in it. And we were gonna fill that with stone, and that's only 4 feet deep. I dove all along there, and then you just taper that off like the other banks, but make it so that. it's
No,
safe.
see, I was under the impression you wanted to actually taper that down into the water, so it was,
Well,
okay.
this is flat.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have some
So you're not
sketches,
changing the
some-
depth of the water or that bank, you're just
that,
making the approach flat.
that's a good idea, John. That would be more natural than putting a dock out there.
Right, no docks, no barriers, no,
Right,
none of the other stuff. And I had some good sketches.
that's a better idea.
Are you talking then about in this curve around the old putting green,
Right.
leaving the bank and it drops a little more sharply?
The cliff would have to come out, because that's where kids are falling in. That would have, underwater would have to be tapered. I don't know how much time we want to spend on it, but I'll work on it. I'm gonna come back to this committee with a design.
Then the only thing I
We
want to,
chewed it around on the boards here for hours.
the one thing I do want to put in there in terms of just your thinking, instead of needing to change the whole steeper bank crown, provide a walkway through the middle so that the entry is down one walkway from the parking lot and the kids can go right or left. The reason for that is that can make that area much more ADA accessible if we have, but we don't have to shave it all down. We don't have to taper the whole thing, just
Right.
the next.
Or an access, 5 foot, right, access to that.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking. I don't want to take any more of your time.
Yeah, we'll have time to chew that design apart.
John, do you want to take that picture? Picture yard, does that help you?
If there are any materials that you're discussing, such as printouts of photos, please follow up by emailing the documents to me.
Okay.
But again, I'm hearing that serious work, accomplishment on this approach, and then surface of the main, what I'll call the main fishing area, which is that semicircle of old putting green sticking into the front. So that, I'm hearing that we're in agreement, that should be a priority, and really some accomplishment there.
It is, and we gave all those sketches as he set up his grant thing, and that was part of it. It was to level it, and do this and do that,
Okay.
and there was an estimate of a dollar value. And that all, so now we just gotta go about budgeting and for getting it designed and bid and budget it ourselves.
Because that planning didn't ever get to the final, to the real plan.
No,
It was categorical costs for
Okay.
that sort of work, but, so I'm hearing that porta potty upgrade, approach to the main fishing area and the surface of the main fishing area, just to put it in simple language. Next year will be signage.
You know this area better than I do, so it was this area here.
So those things are all our priorities that are coming up for 2021.
Yeah, this is a big one.
I don't see why it's such a big deal to do, just to level that out.
Well, I may not be, I think some approach with future anticipation of that approach being able to be ADA, UA, is where we need to get into that planning, but otherwise, I've always agreed that just a nice surface, safe surface for your feet.
You don't have to do the whole area, just a 10-foot around that or something, and snip it down in there, right?
Good. We will continue with, based on our earlier decision, the whole commission decision, et cetera, we will continue with some chemical treatment of the weeds next year, management, with the idea of maintaining a mixture of clear fishing water and good habitat weeds. I don't have a detail, but I saw that Bill Watson is indicating his crew will be coming back yet on, in effect, still on that 2%, $12,000 grant he got before. He will be doing more work on invasive species, management. I don't have the detail, I just saw the email before, literally, as I shut that down, getting in the car to come here. So those two things will continue. We've got rid of a lot. We did a good job this year of beginning the management of automobile, because we were nearly getting overwhelmed in what I would call the back area near the long top. And I think we did a good job of catching that and not getting too far gone. And need to get some glossy buckthorn removed from a couple of the water edges.
I think some of the autumn olives that they cut, they didn't spray,
Right.
because it's coming back.
Yeah. And that's probably what his email's doing.
But whatever they used to spray may have not have taken, because I know they just got some stuff from Blaine's or somewhere, Farm and Fleet.
Well, they're licensed to apply the 2,4-D product.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that
But
will
anyway.
continue
They're coming back good.
in terms of our list of, from our work list.
Because this sure is, it's a lot better than what it was, for sure.
Yeah, that's what invasive species management in the water or on the land is an ongoing effort. It's never a one-time deal.
Right.
You never, but we got ahead of our problem with the work you did this past year.
Is there anything we can do with the weeds? I'm lost for words.
On the ground or in the water?
On the ground,
The knapweed?
knapweed, yes.
No. No. Well, okay,
Because I know we sprayed for that before, and that took care of it a lot in that, in the prairie area, but it's just,
but it's not out competing the prairie.
no, but in other areas.
In some other areas, no, there's nothing we can do, I don't know, easily. The prairie, by the way, I've been in touch with Fish and Wildlife. I sent Heather a number of detailed photos. Well, I took photos off through every stage through this past year. She's really happy with how that looks, and the fact that the prairie grasses are really out competing other stuff, or competing as well as anything else. We had a lot of mullen this year. She said, don't worry, it won't last in the prairie.
The mullen's good though, I mean,
Well, it's
that's
great.
native and it feeds the birds, so.
These guys, that great grass.
So where are we?
I
Okay.
think we're done.
We're done planning? We got a big list here.
Yeah, I know, I didn't want to.
Well,
I was concerned
This is a
about,
big list. Where are we going on some of this stuff?
I was concerned about taking too much time, John.
What?
I'm concerned about taking too much time over on it.
no. Well, John, That's why I got to, what are we missing here then?
Well, either we're gonna have some of this stuff, or these are just words. Now, the grant itself is over with?
Yes.
So we're not gonna be talking about grants anymore?
No, we're talking about taking the planning, thinking of everything we're gonna do, in the grant, and breaking it down into, well, what can we accomplish out of our own budget, piece of time?
On that first page then, where it says B, provide universal accessible access to the pond. So if we go ahead with shaping that like we talked about, and I come back with a sketch, do we want to include a walkway, like you said, through there level from the parking lot where someone on a wheelchair can get down there without rolling in a lake? So that takes care of D. Have something, do we want it out of concrete, gravel, does it have to be gravel?
Crushed concrete.
It can be something that's porous, doesn't have to be slab, it just gotta be
Correct, yeah.
hard packed
Hard pack.
from the parking lot all the way to that area, so you don't roll in the water.
Right. It doesn't have to be level, but
No,
No, I
a
understand.
certain grade.
So this will come up with something like that, and we have it. We'll incorporate that one into this plan, which may or may not.
Even if you went, did a
Yeah.
switchback kind
Yeah,
of thing.
That's what I'm thinking, or off to one of the sides.
Yeah.
You don't have to go all around.
Right.
We're allowed a 1 in 12 slope will provide any handrails for barrier free. Then it doesn't qualify as a ramp. If it's 1 in 12, it's not a ramp, if it's, or that, then it's a ramp.
Do we want to proceed with plans to construct a small pavilion?
No.
Is that on our list? Is that
No.
a 5-year plan, next year's plan? Do
I
we
don't-
want to go out for a design for it, design it, get it for bid, and let the commissioners tell us that we can't do it? But if we got it on our thing here, we're either going to proceed with it, or we're not going to do it.
well, I was looking only at 1 year.
True. You got to have a 5-year plan too, and this is on our list. Do we want to design that thing and go out for bids and then put it into next year's
Well, I do
2022
think,
budget?
no, I think you're right there, John. I think we do have to then look at all of the early planning.
Because the budget takes place in July of next year. That's only 7 months away. So if we want to build a pavilion, we got to get it designed. We got to figure out where we're going to put it. Then we got to tell the commissioners that we need $10,000 for 2022.
And what do we mean by pavilion?
I don't know, someone put it in there.
Well,
Yep.
that's always been, the word's been there, it was in the previous 5-year plan, and it's trickled over into our talk and our conversations. Again, the bigger request, I think is for some sort of shade structure over a picnic table.
I don't know if anybody needs it. I'm gonna go to the park for a picnic.
Well, I think that's what he means by pavilion. Shade
A shade
structure.
structure, as
Yeah.
opposed to a big pavilion. I mean,
Right,
that,
yeah,
the word
enclosed.
pavilion connotes to me something much larger
I
than.
mean, that's what I envision.
You go to eat a lunch in Bryant Park in Traverse City, they just got picnic tables, and you go sit in the picnic table. You have your lunch and go home.
Well, okay, so are you saying we don't need to provide a built,
I don't know,
costly
we as a
structure?
committee has to decide if we're gonna do it, and we got it on here to do it, do we wanna get it designed, pick a spot, run it by our Parks and Rec committee that we think here's a good place for a 10 by 30?
Well, under number F, let's immediately change the word pavilion to shade, picnic shade structure.
Well, whatever.
Well, because it changes the conversation a little in terms of, I'm not talking about an elaborate thing. And maybe we don't need to do it, maybe we don't, maybe, I mean, this list again came from grant planning. Now we're at the point of, well, let's take what we did there and figure out what we can do, what we want to do, piece at a time.
Now, G, you're taking care of G.
I think a shade structure would be a good idea because, it's just kind of a barren desert when you're out there.
Yeah.
And for people to just sit back, chill, have their lunch and leave, might get more people doing that. Rather than sitting in the sun baking.
So sometimes next year, we need to look into,
I'm cautious on that for the cost per amount of use.
I do too. It costs a lot to build that.
And like, I did all the things up at Northport Marina. We redid the marina and white buildings with a red orange roof. And I did a gazebo up there. It was a nice octagon thing, but.
10 grand.
It was a lot of money for what I anticipate people using.
I did one, or helped approve one for Boy Scouts in Kalkaska. They use it every weekend.
Okay,
And when it's raining, they have their things under it. It wasn't that big, it was, I don't know, 17 by 25 on stilts and this, but it wasn't cheap. They had some volunteer help, and the lumber costs this. Boy Scouts have 40 Boy Scouts.
yeah. So I'm cautious to get an opinion, it's just that ones I've been involved in, they're costly for the amount they got. They look pretty. And somebody wanted something to look at.
And you're right, if I was a commissioner, I'd say, well, what are we getting out of this?
Yeah.
You know, the thing is sitting there in this climate.
But like Scott says, we don't have maple trees, it's got places to sit at, we got pine trees that you can't get up.
I'm not talking about some elaborate stone structure here.
No.
Some set on some 6x6.
Roofs are
small-
expensive.
Small roof
Roofs are
and a few picnic
expensive.
tables under it.
Cost you 10 grand to put a roof on
Oh,
a
yeah.
garage. And so roof on stilts is gonna cost that and more.
But one of the pictures, Dave, you had were posts and they had a fabric
Yeah,
thing and so.
I remember that.
That David passed out. And-
Oh, sun sail, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even something like
I
that.
hadn't brought that back up in my mind.
Something I looked through when we were talking
Something to
about.
dodge the raindrops when you're out there. The sun.
How durable are those things, I wonder, the fabric? Because John was saying about signage, you know, we all know, the sun eats anything. It's plastic.
And we aren't here to spend a lot of money for the county, but a lot of this stuff is just a bunch of nice, good work. Get maintenance groups together, continued tree planting. What are we doing with some of this stuff? That's just this just been going on for a while, just haven't got it in writing now.
Yeah, and a lot of it needs to be in effect rewritten, because we're not going for the grant. I mean, we could but I think.
This is in our plan book. Now, what do we gotta do with the Grand Traverse Band? It says establish a relationship with the band. We gotta meet with them. There's new leaders now. There's a new guy that doesn't take a lot of money to meet with the band and do something about the use of native plants. Either that or cross it off.
Well, does this list doesn't appear in the 5-year plan exactly, does it?
Well, that came out of it. Word for word.
Well, I thought this came out of the prioritization we did through the grant application.
No, it came from what we wrote in a 5-year plan. I took every one of those 5-year plans, put them under the parks and handed them out.
So, but these are the words, these are the exact words that are in the 5-year plan.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay, so we come at this a little bit.
but in that 5-year plan, it had this draft and a big wish list and all this. And I know we only got a couple minutes. I'd like to see, like that very last one, A, develop an annual operation and maintenance. Scott is taking care of that part and mows and cuts. What does Scott need? They're not gonna solve it here in the next 5 minutes, but gates that's gotta be moved, gravel road going in the back, like you said, can the county bring 1,000 yards, and you can pick at it? What do you need to maintain that place? We have to talk about painting. This is an expensive park, and it's a nice park. And right now, there's 4 of us sitting here, making sure we maintain this for the citizens.
It seems to me painting is something that, I'm not saying we can find volunteers who want to paint, I'm saying it's a chore that the county will allow volunteers to engage in.
Probably could do that one bridge. That's painted.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm not talking about the Mackinac Bridge.
No, there's 2 bridges.
But the other, you know, one of the things we have down here is developing some sort of Friends of Veronica.
Can we get someone to paint that?
Well, let's ask Scott how we do it. Scott?
Do we get volunteers to paint that?
Yes.
Who's running the volunteers?
Well, yeah, let's back up on that. I got 2 sources of volunteers that I've learned of in the last year. One is the fishing committee. Lonnie Rodemaker has come forward, they've really been interested in helping with the cross-country ski grooming, which is a different issue.
I've got that covered.
Okay,
We have someone to do that besides me,
okay, excellent.
unemployed.
Because there, the whole problem with that volunteer energy was running county equipment and the insurance and the whole cost. And that's why I said painting is something that if we get the volunteer group organized, painting's a chore that isn't gonna run into this county's liability issues.
So we have a real parks commission next week? Did we establish?
No,
We were gonna have these small parks and
We were
then,
going to have, they discussed potentially having a meeting next week, but then determined you might as well defer to December
December.
10th,
okay,
your next scheduled regular session.
I saw that in your minutes. And okay.
Is, you're the only group that meets regularly, the other 2 have not met.
and John, hoping to be clear, the reason I rushed us into this meeting was not to get all of this checked off, but to really become clear before December 10th on what monies we might spend yet this year.
We did, yeah.
So that we've got to organize. I mean, we've got,
My goal was to rattle everybody to make sure we get the stuff going. And there's some parks that haven't had a meeting
I know,
since May.
It's been a lot longer than that for some of the other ones.
That's disappointing.
no, it is.
I think we're at.
Well, I like the park. It was gorgeous when it's.
But I know she's gonna have some good notes, but when we have this December meeting, you know, we're gonna cover this and that, and we give you this. I just like this last one, though, popped up,
Volunteer.
volunteer painting. Yeah, you've got some things you can talk about volunteers.
Well, and I got some other work to do in that area that, yes, I will get done. I have not. I said I'd do it earlier, the last meeting, I haven't done it December 10th. But I'm glad to hear you got the cross-country skiing part.
Oh, that's what, we got cross-country skiing covered. That's a good thing to tell the committee that our roller and Scott's got volunteer here. That's a good note to have.
I like John talking about volunteers because volunteers take ownership then.
Yeah.
There's some issues to work out there, and that's what I'll report on in December. So at this point, I'm going to entertain, I'll do it. We're done with our work prioritization, so any other board member comment at this moment? And I'll wait on public comment if there is any.
The number to call is 256-8109.
Midnight tonight, get 2 comments for free.
There is nobody watching.
Got it. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are so adjourned.
You didn't ask for Commissioner comments?
Scott, I was on Veronica on Wednesday, and that park really looks nice.